Hey, welcome back, everybody. Mark from Rams Up here for our 11th mock draft of the 2024 draft season. And I got Paul Walia back. How's it going, Paul?
Double barrel ram horns 24/7 out here on the East Coast. How you doing, Mark?
Pretty good, pretty good. And we're going to do something kind of fun this time. And Paul and I had been talking about this was actually my special assistant's idea, trying to do something a little bit different with our mock drafts. And so, we really don't know what the Rams are thinking, right? We can pretend like we know, but we really don't know. And we are going to let Lady Luck decide which position group we're going to select with each of these first six Ram picks. And then after that, we'll kind of wing it. How Lady Luck is going to participate in this, we'll show you in a second. But we will go ahead and share this mock draft simulator and get it rolling. You ready to go?
Let's rock and roll.
So I got this on normal speed, and let me add this to the stage. And we've all seen this plenty of times before. I'll just get this rolling. And when we get to the 19th pick, we'll see how we'll see what Lady Luck has to say about which position we're going to roll with. Now I see more and more mock drafts with the we'll reject all these, but we still may trade depending on what Lady Luck tells us to do here. I see more and more mock drafts having the Rams taking Latu, the edge rusher out of UCLA. Okay, so what position do we want to pick? And this is how we're going to decide. I have 6 position groups assigned to this wheel, and we're going to let it spin. Here we go. And by the way, I suspect this is what Les Snead has done in the past.
That's usually how the Rams handle it. You're absolutely right.
or maybe, I don't know, there's a couple teams that are pretty bad at drafting, and maybe this is what they do. Okay, so we got offensive tackle. Now, offensive tackle at this point in the draft, I don't think we're going to need to trade. Let's see look who's there, Fuaga. And
Listen,
he could potentially be there at 19, right? Is that realistic?
Lady Luck is in our favor. So she has been generous to us. So let's pull the trigger. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Fuaga.
and he's a guy that we talked about in the
One of
last
my favorites.
roundtable. He's
One
just
of my favorites.
he's a little nasty, right?
Absolutely. Kid is an absolute beast, a raw prospect. Projects as a right tackle, but can play left tackle as well. Incredible size. And he is quite nimble. So great prospect.
Yeah, and he gives the Rams a lot more flexibility along that along the offensive line in the future and this year. Rob Havenstein getting up there in years. We're going to reject all these trades. Now, at this point, I think, the remaining positions, Paul and I had talked about this before, and we had thought that if linebacker came up on our first pick, we might have traded back. The rest of these positions, I think we can stand pat. Let's see how it goes. So we have offensive tackle in the book. And, I was torn about secondary. I just think there's so many good cornerbacks available. I just called it secondary, even though I think safety is a bigger need. So let's roll the dice here, spin the wheel, and see what we are dictated to do. Defensive tackle. Hey, this is actually playing out pretty good, right? Although I personally, I don't know if I would go offensive tackle in the first round, but I would not be upset with Fuaga. So defensive tackle, before I even filter, let's see who we might be passing on. Chris Jenkins is there, right?
There you go.
And Braden Fisk as well. You lean towards Jenkins, correct?
Yep, I love the kid Jenkins. Like I said, the technical aspect of his game with the ferocity, just the way he plays the run, the leverage, the leadership. Haven't even tapped into his pass rush potential as well. So Chris Jenkins is the way to go.
Yeah, and I talked about this in my most recent podcast. I don't know if you caught it yet. I was comparing Newton and um, Byron Murphy head to
Oh,
head. And I thought Jenkins, the way I looked at it was those two are going to go first. Chris Jenkins will probably go in between 19 and 52. And then the next guy on the board would be Rook, perhaps, or Braden
yeah.
Fisk. But so Jenkins dropping this low, that's plays right into the Rams' hands. So we'll go ahead and select Jenkins.
And these
And
names are
maybe,
going to be very familiar to Ram fans because when we've been running our mocks, look, a lot of these names are uh,
yeah,
players that we've picked before.
let me spin up here. I'm missing out on all the picks. Sorry about that. And we are at the Rams' first pick in the third round. And we have, let's review our picks. We were told by the wheel to select an offensive tackle and then a defensive lineman. Trenches, trenches. And you had actually said, you've said over and over, these are two of the two pretty deep positions, really good talent at the top of the draft as well. So worked out well for us.
Yeah, trenches in the top two. Tease
Yeah.
all around. Trenches in the top two. The way this draft is playing out is the way to go.
And let's see what Lady Luck has to say here. I'm hoping personally that it would be edge at this point, but is there a drop off at this point at edge? Did we already miss our window?
No, not at all. But
Okay.
edge gets really light around round three. So
Yeah. Okay.
after round three, then you're really
Let me see if
rolling the dice.
Isaac is Adiza Isaac is gone for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to the wheel. And what are we? Oh, linebacker. And that's a good spot for linebacker, I think.
All right. What does the edge count as linebacker? No,
No,
right?
we're talking about the Edgerrin Cooper, Jeremiah Trotter
Got it.
players of the world. And there's Trotter. There's Cedric Gray is another guy you like. It's got to be Trotter, right?
Got to be Trotter.
This makes these drafts go quicker when we're told what position we're going to draft.
Yeah,
Okay, got to
it
be.
literally is a no-brainer at this point, right? Because
Yeah, yeah. But it's gonna it'll be very telling to see if the wheel is telling us what position to pick, how well the draft turns out for us.
it looks like Vanna White knows football.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. We got Fuaga, Jenkins, and Trotter. I would be really pleased with that. I'd be a little disappointed that we perhaps missed on the impact edge rushers. But
Trotter Jr. is one of your favorite players.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so what do we got left? Secondary, wide receiver, and edge.
Yeah, so Trotter, for those of you at home, Trotter is a good instinctive inside backer, um, good speed, plays tough, likes to shoot gaps. Um, not your slow-footed plotter in the middle, but good quickness and very physical.
And we're a little thin there. By the way, you heard the big news. Maybe I should take linebacker off of here because the Rams have re-signed Troy Reader.
Troy Reader.
So
Yeah.
hey,
He's
there
waiting
you
to
have
play
it.
Arizona again. He's waiting to play
Yeah,
Arizona.
you have to like Troy Reader. He's a class guy. He's just a guy though. Hey, look, we got to draft a wide receiver.
It's easy breezy.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's go back to all here and be a good spot to pick a safety, apparently. Top
So
three
what came
guys
up?
are.
Wide receiver or safety? What came up?
Well, we have three safeties and then Jalen Wright and Cade Stover. The highest rated wide receiver is Jermaine Burton. Let me filter by wide receiver, make sure
Yeah.
there's someone else that we don't prefer. We got Jerry Rice's boy, Brendan,
Oh,
Johnny
interesting.
Wilson. Ram fans on the YouTube channel, at least one guy was clamoring for Luke McCaffrey, and he's there, and so is Anaya Smith.
Yep.
Might be a little early for him though. I'll let you
Do, do
make the
you
pick here.
you want to go by the wheel? Do you want the
We
wheel to
have to
drive
go
the
by the
machine?
wheel. We have
You
to.
have to go by the wheel
We'll be cursed if we ignore the
if we don't.
wheel.
Okay. So if we have to go by the wheel, then I have to go with Brendan Rice.
Okay. And tell
And a
us a little bit
nice
about Brendan Rice. I don't think we've drafted him yet.
No, and we get to stick it to the Niners. So yeah, to Jerry Rice's son. This is his son. He plays either the X or the Z, an outside receiver, good length, good size. He's had good workouts, shows good speed. It depends on the reviews, who you believe. Some people say he's limited to a certain number of routes on the route tree. Some people think he's not physical enough. But I think for a wide receiver prospect, he has the skills. He has the basic fundamentals down. He has to work on his route running, but he does well in the red zone. One thing I will say, he had great production at USC, particularly around the red zone. So for a receiver that a lot of people are saying is only a vertical threat, he did really well in there. Where you have to be tough going over the middle, running those slants. So Brendan Rice is the way to go.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if he can get vertical. I guess that's the answer to that question is yes.
Yep, I like what I
Stretch
saw.
stretch the field a little bit. How big is he? He's not a smaller guy like Tutu, is he?
No, I think they have him at 6'2", 200 and change.
Oh, okay. That's in that Rams wheelhouse
Yeah,
as far as size of their receivers. And
yeah, I think it's like 6'2", 198, something like that.
do we know if he can block?
Well, yeah, they're right. That's the thing, right? You play for the Rams, you have to block. But yeah, he looks like a kid that has good physicality. So yeah, I'm sure that's something he'll pick up along the way at USC. He did have to block, and
Right.
you know, I wouldn't say he's the most tenacious blocker out there, but he's definitely willing, and that's something that the Rams will definitely endorse. So he'll pick that up along the way as well.
Okay. Brendan Rice is the pick. And let's see, what do we got so far here?
See, at this point, the wheel trying to throw those curveballs out there, it's not going to impact us at all. We know these prospects up and down at this point, right, Mark?
Right. We kind of view this as the position coaches are in Les's ear and saying you are drafting a wide receiver at 99. And
And this also shows that a lot of times when you look at those draft grades, right, and that's really when they are trying to tell you, draft one of these, draft one of those, when there's no double dipping, and you can see how it does absolutely dilute your player pool in terms of what your haul, in terms of what you walk away with. So it's a good contrast for those of you at home when you're able to dictate who you want and when you want, as opposed to that the other way when it's being dictated for you. So it's a great exercise.
what do we have left here? We have edge still in secondary.
Yeah.
And I see Tyke Smith is a guy you like.
Yep.
Um,
A
well,
lot of
let's
great
see.
players still left. Yep.
Yeah, let's see what the wheel tells us to do here. Are you rooting for a position here? We finally get to edge,
There you go. So my favorite
and
position.
yeah,
Now we can have some fun. Look at that. So we're light. Look at that. We're light at edge. Yeah, we got no choice. Let's do Brendan Jackson.
yeah. You've talked a little bit about him. Tell us
Yeah.
about Brandon Jackson a little bit.
Yeah,
Refresh our memory.
Brendan Jackson is similar to Michael Hoyt. He's a big end size rusher, very physical at the point of attack, good power rush move, but has enough speed to bend the corner. Um, has had great production for a player his size. So I like him. He's like that Michael, not as big as Michael Hoyt, but that, like I said, that big edge rusher mold, like a Braylon Trice out of Washington, that same type of concept. I think Braylon Trice is a little bit more of a better prospect, but yeah, I think Brendan Jackson would be a great fit. And later in the draft, we've taken Brendan Jackson many times, so this is good value.
Okay, that's the pick, and we're gonna roll right into. I guess is there a reason to play the wheel? It's fun, so let's do it. And it's going to come up secondary, right? There you go. Surprise, surprise.
There you go.
And these are those
And,
back-to-back picks. Go ahead.
and hit my selections for a second. So we took at 170, right? We were at 154. We took him at 170, right? So it's a little, somebody could say that's a little bit of a reach, but all right. So let's take a look at our next one.
You want to look at the player? What do you want? The player list?
We're taking secondary, right?
Yeah, and
So it could be
you got a couple guys
cornerback
here
or
that
safety. Yeah. So hit corner for a second because look at the safeties have just been wow.
So we got the 149th rated player, Tyke Smith, the
Tyke.
one.
Yep. Tyke Smith is the way to go.
Okay. Tyke Smith, and that is the pick, and we've talked a lot about him as well.
I think he's a great fit for the Rams system. As a safety, knows how to play the middle of the field. Very aggressive safety in terms of playing the run, blitzing, playing in that short space. So yeah, he would fit great in the Rams system.
I'm trying to make note here of, let's see what we got left here. We're going to reject these. We're done with the wheel, but I wanted to consider, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks left, and the positions we have not selected are quarterback, tight end, and running back, interior offensive line, although Fuaga could probably play there, kicker, and we got the safety, but not the cornerback. So what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, can we try to run the rest of this draft without the wheel, obviously, but don't double up on any position
No,
unless
okay,
you wanted.
don't double
Unless you
up. You
wanted.
got it.
Unless
No,
you
you got
wanted.
it.
The one position we could double up on is defensive line.
No,
What do you
however you
think?
want it. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
We'll say that we'll leave that open as an option to select a defensive lineman potentially. You're not going to draft a kicker though, right?
If you want me to, I will. Not a problem.
No, it's up to you. I know you are averse to drafting kickers, and we'll take that off the list if you want.
No, we can definitely leave it on if you want. It's not a problem. 254,
Okay.
we'll make that our kicker.
It's your draft. It's your draft, so I
Miss,
don't want to.
Mr. Relevant this year will be a kicker for us. Let's take a look.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we are at the Rams pick in the what is this, a 6th round pick? And let's go to all here. So you could consider running back, interior offensive line, cornerback here. I know Pritchett's a guy you like, Anais Smith.
Nice.
I don't know if you want to. I don't think we want to double up on a wide receiver though. That to me doesn't make a lot of sense.
Let's do Pritchett.
It's really up to you. I'm not trying to dictate what. If you want another wide receiver, we can do it.
Well, let's do corner. Pritchett.
You want Pritchett?
By the way, we know Anais Smith is one of our Puka power picks, so people should be familiar with the name. He's going to turn a lot of heads when he's in the NFL. He's a great player. I think he's going to be a great player.
The 49ers want to trade. No thanks.
No, thank you.
And here we got
keep your pick.
Yeah, they're gonna need it. So another 6th round pick, and we could consider running back. Tight end would be low on my list, but it's up to you. Christian Boyd, a defensive lineman.
Okay. So what would interior O-line has not been utilized yet, right?
Right, and running back.
Okay.
Interior offensive line. Let's take a look.
Oh, wow. So 2 ways to go here. Hunter Nerzad from Penn State, another uber athletic interior lineman from Penn State. Shocking, right? That's exactly what they churn out, particularly at the center position. Brandon Coleman, perfect fit for the Rams. Avila's buddy, right? They played next to one another. Brandon Coleman. Yep, and Coleman had one of the best athletic scores in the total workouts in the combine. So either way to go, I'm going to go with, listen, we need depth in the center of the O-line, including center. So let's go with Hunter Nerzad.
Hunter Nerzad out of Penn State.
Yep, great player.
Nerzad.
Great player. Good mobility. Like to watch when you watch him play. You see him; he's downfield all the time. Tenacious player, very smart, good team leader too.
Okay, let's put this back on all. And so we might consider a defensive lineman would be the only position we double up on, running back, quarterback. You want me to filter by anything?
Let's take a
Want to
look.
see if your Florida State quarterback's available?
What position have we not taken as yet?
We have not taken quarterback, tight end, running back, kicker, and we could double up at defensive line.
D line we can. Okay. So let's do the ranking. Let's see what's out there. All right. So Eric All is a good tight end prospect. He had that injury. Let's see. We've already taken safety. Bo Braid. I mean, this late in the draft, Bo Braid's a great. Tyrese Knight is that linebacker I told you about. That he great linebacker. Uh, Super quick, good coverage skills. Running back Dylan Johnson. Let's take Dylan Johnson.
Dylan Johnson. We're checking all the boxes. Tell the listeners and viewers a little bit about Dylan Johnson.
Yeah, I love in that Washington. Shout out to Washington U. Great running back, physical running back. Played hurt, played tough. Has experience running out of the shotgun. Michael Penix handing him, obviously taking the handoffs from Michael Penix. Runs well between the tackles, has enough speed to bounce it outside, but more of a between the tackles runner. Really knows how to move the chains. Just a great running back in a passing system. Has decent skills catching balls out of the backfield and a good pass blocker too. So I think he's a good fit for the Rams.
Good. Okay, so that means we have 2 picks left. Double check that. It's 2 picks, right? 2 picks left, number 217 and number 254. And by the way, they like your last 4 picks.
Yeah.
Tucky Smith, Nehemiah Pritchett, Hunter Norzad, and Dylan Johnson, all A pluses for what that's worth. And we are on our second to last pick. And I guess we could consider quarterback, tight end, kicker, another defensive lineman.
You got it.
And
you got tight end. Let's take a look. Another player for Ram Nation to keep an eye on, if you scroll down a little bit, at running back, a player that's starting to get a little bit of burn is this kid, Tyrone Tracy. So Tyrone Tracy is extremely unique. He started out as wide receiver before he got switched over to running back, and he's only had, like, I think really one, I think about say a year and a half at the actual position. Mark, but when you watch this kid, man, holy cow. When because he's a converted wide receiver out of the backfield, kid is magical. But he also runs like an absolute beast. Never goes down, never runs out of bounds. Tyrone Tracy, I think, is a real sleeper. He's up at 177 because people are picking up on who he is and what he is, and that he's a great value. But Mark, out of the backfield, kid is a weapon. And if you watch him run, he is physical. So shout out to Purdue. They really found something with this kid. I think he's going to be a great player in the NFL. Tyrone Tracy, somebody to really earmark on your sleeper list. Definitely a Puka power pick.
I'm going to have to go check the video.
All right. So you want to do tight end? Because I got to hit the tight end.
Sure.
Hit the tight end room. Let's see what we got.
One thing I want to do. I wanted to see if your Florida State
my
quarterback,
my boys. Let's see if he's there. Looked like now he's gone.
Doesn't look like he is.
He's gone. We would have to go with Hartman or Leary. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, we can
look at the tight end. Look at the tight end room. Look at that. That's easy breezy for me. Tanner McLaughlin from Arizona. I like this kid. Oh wait, there's Brevin Spann-Ford.
Yeah, that was going to be my guess because I thought you really liked him.
Yeah. So McLaughlin is one of those tight end prospects, really, really under the radar. Good receiver, good hands, good length, more physical than a lot of people give him credit for. But Brevin Spann-Ford, to me, Jaheim Bell before the workout was much, much higher. he was that sort of pass catching tight end out of Florida State, and everybody was really high on him. But he's sort of, I guess, fallen out of favor, so to speak.
Hmm.
In the Rams scheme, I don't know if he's really a good fit, but I'm going to go with Brevin Spanford. Let's go with Brevin
Was
Spanford.
he the one that you said is an incredible blocker? Is that the guy?
Incredible blocker, really raw as a prospect. McLaughlin would have been great too. Trey Knox, as you can see, at 299 would be a little bit down on our draft chart, but Brevin Spanford, I think, would fit the
Okay,
bill right
Brevin
here.
Spanford out of Minnesota, the tight end out of
Minnesota,
Minnesota.
great size, great physicality, just scratching the surface of his potential.
So that leaves quarterback, which I don't know if that's a wise move at this point. Kicker, and you could double up on any position you want. Defensive
Okay.
line would make the most sense to me, but
How
again,
many picks we have left?
this is it.
That's it. All right. You know which way I'm going to go. You know
I do not.
I always go defense. You know that. You know I'm a defensive guy. D is where it's at. Defense wins championships. Let's see what we got. Player list. Let's take a look. Let's hit it. Wow. Kamani. Look at these two running backs, Mark. Wow. Look at that. Kamani Vidal. Did we take running back?
Yeah, we took the Washington
Will
Dillon.
Dylan, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, nice. Kamani Vidal is another great fit for the Rams later in the draft. For those of you out there, Ram Nation, kid is built low to the ground. He's like a little bit, just a tad under 5'9", plays out of Troy, same school where Solomon, the pass rusher, comes from. Low to the ground, runs hard, runs can run in a zone scheme as well as a power scheme. Um, great breaking tackles, but also a great pass blocker, Mark. And he has good hands out of the backfield. So let's see what else we got. Oh, so Josh Carter, the kicker out of Stanford. I think you had asked me once about kick. I said, I like this kid. And then I saw his interview. He says he's dying to play for the 49ers. And I was like, you're dead to me,
well,
Josh
yeah,
Carter.
and that's not going to happen, right?
You're right. I think they still got Jake Moody, right?
Right.
Um, so I could double up on any position I want, you said, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's
You want
take
me
a
to
look.
filter by some position groups here and see if there's someone
Yeah,
that we love?
position by edge for a second. So let's see. Eric Watts, Grayson Murphy. All right, nobody really jumps out at me there. Although I do like that kid, Tupuola Fatui. All right, take a look at D-line. Wow, they really took a lot of D-line, Mark. Wow. All right, take a look at corner and safety. Oh, look at that. There's my buddy
Cornerback,
Devonshire. There's my buddy
Daquan
Devonshire.
Hardy. Yeah,
Yeah.
MJ Devonshire, Kamal Hayden, DeAndre Prince.
We'll solve our
Gotta
return game issues right there, right, with
gotta remember to
Devonshire.
read these off for the folks that listen on the podcast.
So safety, what do we got for safety? We're gonna end with a bang, like we
See
always do.
Josh
Josh
Proctor,
Proctor, I
Kenny
said late.
Logan,
Yep, late in the draft. Josh Proctor's incredible value. Loved his workouts.
Damani Richardson. I think we've
Yep,
talked about him,
a
haven't
lot of
we?
these guys. Yep, Damani Richardson, absolutely. Tyler Owens, he was that workout warrior. Would put up incredible numbers. Tyler from Texas Tech. All right, and wide receiver. Let's take a look at wide receiver. Who we have? Anthony Gould.
Anthony
Nobody. Okay.
Good, Jaquan Jackson, Jordan Whittington, Jalen Coker. We've talked about him a little bit. Or
Coker, yeah.
maybe it
A
was
lot of
Scott
people.
Richmond. Scott Richmond may have drafted him for us.
So Coker's getting a lot of buzz for, as they call him, the super sleeper at wide receiver, man. He is just one of the best route runners in the draft, super physical, nice demeanor. His interviews have all been positive. So, yeah, Jalen Coker, yeah, I would agree. He's definitely worthy of a lot of buzz. And take a look at tackle.
Offensive tackle.
Yeah, let's take a look at offensive tackle.
We got
All right.
Tylen
Perfect.
Grable, Travis Glover,
Yeah,
Garrett
Garrett
Greenfield,
Greenfield. Yeah, Greenfield
Frank
would have been
Crum.
in this grouping. I would have went with Greenfield. All right, hit all, and we'll end with a bang. And the player I'm going to double up with, scroll down a little bit.
I'll read these off for the listeners. We got running back Dejon Edwards, safety Josh Proctor, running back Kamani Vidal, edge Eric Watts, the kicker Joshua Carty, the running back Kendall Milton.
That's the Puka power pick. I call him the hammer. Yeah, love that kid. Andrew Rame, good value at center. Keep going. Let's see who jumps out at us.
So we
Let's get
got
one
running
of our
back
power
Jawar
picks.
Jordan, offensive tackle Tylen Grable, interior off the kicker Cameron Little.
Cameron Little.
I thought
Okay,
he was
interesting.
rated higher than Cardi, but not at this
Yeah,
moment.
Cardi's tops. Little is second. And you know what? Keep going, keep going, keep going. Let's see if anybody
Got
jumps out at
MJ
us.
Devonshire, the cornerback, Travis Glover, the
Yeah.
offensive tackle. We've
Okay,
talked
keep
a little.
going.
Did we talk
Yeah.
about Amani Bailey as well? I don't think we
Amani
drafted
Bailey
two
is
running. I
smaller
thought you.
running back, very quick. Yeah.
I
Amani
thought you
Bailey, good
liked
return.
Grayson Murphy out of UCLA. Was that you that liked him?
His brother, the other Murphy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jackson Sermon. Okay. Steel Chambers, linebacker, Ohio State. All right. I like it. All right. So now we're getting, so now we're getting into a little bit of the players that we know. Okay. All right. So you can scroll up. Let's finish with a bang. Let's go with Devonshire. He'll answer. We need him for the return game anyway. That'll be so we got our punt returner in
Okay.
Devonshire. The kid is a
So Paul's
dynamic
talking
punt returner.
about the cornerback out of Pittsburgh,
Yep.
MJ Devonshire, and he's the guy. I remember you called him out one of our first mock drafts, and
Yep.
maybe it was your Puka Power picks.
He was in Puka Power Pick 1. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and you see this guy ranked number 231, and then you go watch the film on this guy. Talk about a feisty cornerback, just plays with an edge, has a knack for making big plays, right?
Absolutely. You can take it to the house at any time, wherever he
Oh,
is on the field, as a return man, as a corner. So there you go. Let's take a look at the
okay.
draft.
That's our draft. We now, Fuaga is an interesting choice. Again, the wheel dictated that, and I am not certainly not leaning towards offensive tackle with our first pick, but you get a guy like this on your team, and you feel pretty good about it.
And that reminds us of when they took Gurley, of when they took Donald, when they didn't have, when quote unquote, they didn't have to, but people say that, right? You
Right.
never have to take a great player, but should you take a great player when they're available? That's the question. You don't have to. The Rams, I mean, obviously for us, we've talked about it at the round table. The Rams have a lot of options, and it's going to be hard to turn your eyes away from a great player when they're available, when they fall down to 19. But edge, obviously, edge and D line gets really thin really quickly.
Yeah.
So those, in my opinion, those two reasons, I mean, tell you basically which way to go with your first two picks. You gotta go D line. You gotta go edge early, and if it comes down to the two, you just gotta take the impact player. So I think the
Yeah.
Rams, like I said, are in the driver's seat when it comes to 19. I think teams are going to want to trade for their 19. So the Rams can really earmark three or four, like we said, that pod format, really earmark three or four players, and they're going to get the player they want.
Um, so you got three of the first five are defense, and I'm going to make a prediction right here and now, assuming the Rams, let's say the Rams don't trade back, don't trade up. I'm almost certain three of the top four picks are going to be defense, if not
Oh,
all
yeah.
four. So in this draft, we have two of the top four are offense, but Fuaga, he's special, so I'm okay with that. And then we got, let's see, after Trotter, the linebacker, that would pretty much, our linebacking group, inside linebackers would be good to go. We're already good at wide receiver. Brendan Rice just adds a little juice to it. And then we add the depth, another edge rusher that's going to help a lot.
Brendan Jackson, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be a
Now,
nice rotational fit right behind Michael Hoyt.
yeah.
The big power rusher type, he fitted perfectly. Yep.
Yeah, the one thing that might be missing, a little disappointing with this draft, and again, it wasn't our fault. It was the wheels' fault. I don't know if we came away with Ram fans are going to would be complaining that we didn't get the edge rusher. And they might be right, but blame the
Well,
wheel.
that's what's going to happen if we did what the wheel told us to do, but if you have to wait, it gets light really quickly
Yeah.
in this year's draft. There are not too many edge rushers out there.
Then we got the safety. We really like these. This is where we started getting all the A pluses, and one of the reasons you get A pluses when you take this approach of not doubling up and spreading your picks around position groups
Yeah.
as you get later in the draft, they're going to give you A pluses. That's just what it does. But these talk about our secondary. Where our secondary already could be. I hesitate to use the word elite, but it could be pretty darn good, and then you add Tyke Smith and Nehemiah Pritchett.
And
Um,
I think the Rams would be wise to take that 213, 217, and what's the other one? 254. These three, package them and try to crack the 200, maybe like a 3-for-1 and crack the 200 and get back into again another pick, a higher pick. I think it makes a
yeah,
difference. But I think we got great value for 213, 217, and 254.
yeah,
If you take a look at what you walked away with, I think Dylan Johnson's a great running back. I
yeah.
really do.
For you
If not,
listeners,
yeah.
for
If
you
not for that
listeners,
injury, Dylan Johnson would have been a lot higher.
yeah, for you listeners, the last four picks were interior offensive lineman Hunter Norzad out of Penn State, Dylan Johnson, the running back out of Washington, Brevin Spanford, the tight end out of Minnesota. He's a blocking machine. And then the dynamic cornerback out of Pittsburgh, MJ Devonshire. By the way, so refresh my memory. Did Dylan get hurt in the college football semifinal or the championship game?
Yeah, he might actually have been earlier. I
Was it
think he hurt
earlier?
his knee. Yeah, I think he hurt his knee.
Oh, okay.
Played, yeah, but he played hurt too.
Oh,
In the
maybe it
on
was
the
in the
latter.
Pac. Maybe it was the Pac-12 championship game
Yes, I think
against
you might be
Oregon.
right. You might be
Yeah,
right. But he played hurt also earlier
yeah,
in the season, and then also finished out the season hurt. So, kid's tough as nails. I love the
yeah.
way he runs on the interior. He drags bodies into the end zone. Um, he's good running back prospect that a lot of people are not talking about.
Yeah, it's a pretty good draft. A few new names. Hunter Norzad is new for me. Actually, he might be the only new name. He might be the only guy on this list that I'm really not familiar with. I got to do
Yeah.
a little bit more studying on Brendan Rice and Brennan Jackson. Everybody else, we've talked plenty
I
about
like
them.
those. Yeah, I like those lunch pail guys in the middle that are like you really high football IQ, good
Yeah,
toughness, good mobility. They come to work. Those are the type of guys that people can say what they want, but they wind up sticking in the NFL for a solid decade.
yeah.
So he's one of those guys.
So, what do you think? Should we do a Wheel of Fortune draft another time?
Listen, I think it's a good exercise to really see for those of you that want to, you know your players, and you run the draft and you get sort of into that rut. Change it up and see, just to get familiar with the position groups, even if they don't fall out the way you like. But being in certain situations and see how it plays out if certain positions are taken, first, second, third. But this is a great exercise so we could see. Listen, if you don't take edge early, look what you're walking away with. Not that Brennan Jackson's a terrible player, but
Right.
when you start saying like potential impact, I mean, Brennan Jackson, you don't know. Brennan Jackson could turn into be the next Kevin Green for all we know.
Yeah,
But
and
when it comes to potential, you're definitely giving up a lot.
yeah, and actually, I don't know if we're going to have time to do another one of these. We're running out of time, which is a nice thing. It's 2 weeks from today,
Yeah, yeah.
and we have maybe we will. We'll have the one mock draft we're going to do with Tom and Ian on board. All four of us pitching in. We'll probably have time to do another one or two, just you and me, and we'll decide if we want to let the wheel decide. What I don't want it to do is, fall out in the same order. So we'll see.
Yeah. And listen, we put Ram Nation. We've put a bunch of mock drafts out there. Take a look at them and see how they've played out. And we've done them at various parts of the process of scouting process when certain players were not well known. Now that certain players are well known, So I think it's great to see the progression. The Puka Power picks 1 and 2 to get familiar with a lot of players in the latter round of the draft. So it's impressive to see Mark. When I pick these players, Mark knows the background of these players. We've done so many of these. So yeah, get ready for the draft. It's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and by the way, that's 6 defense, 5 offense, no trading, 11 players, pretty much
Yep.
hit every position except for kicker and quarterback. And
Yeah.
which means, what the good thing about that is also is, everybody's got a better shot at making the team. When you pick 3 defensive linemen or 2 edge, you do that type of thing.
Yeah.
It's great to have competition, but the end result is you want guys that are going to make your team and contribute. Okay, Paul.
I think the Rams might have to double dip either at D line or edge this
Yeah.
time around.
And we had one where we took your first 2 picks for defensive line, and it
When we did,
wasn't it
that was my
was
favorite draft that we've done so
yeah.
far.
Yeah. Take a position of
Jenkins
perhaps
and
weakness.
Iron Byron. Remember that? We walked away with
Yeah.
Iron Byron and Chris Jenkins. I was like giddy.
Yeah, you turn a position of supposed weakness into a strength overnight.
Absolutely.
Okay, Paul. Thanks a lot for your time out here, and I'll reach out to you. Maybe we'll have time to do something over the weekend as well. We'll see.
Right. Don't fear the wheel, baby. Let's
All
go.
right.
Double
All
barrel
right.
ambulance.
Okay. Out here.